And then we get the live stream started. We get the live stream started. It's my little live stream song. It's time to get the live stream started. Hi, everybody. How are you today? I hope you're having a good day. I hope technologically everything works properly this morning. I hope that you're ready to learn some English. Let me just check to make sure everything is working. Yes, everything is working the way it is supposed to. That makes me happy. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about struggles and problems. We are human beings. Life isn't always easy. Sometimes you have a day or a week where there are just problems, things that make life difficult. There are things you struggle with, and we call those struggles. In this English lesson, I will help you learn a number of different words and phrases we use to talk about struggles and problems in life. It won't be a super happy lesson, but let's face it. Sometimes you have a good day and you're happy, and sometimes you have a bad day because you are struggling with something or there is a problem. So in this English lesson, we'll learn about struggles and problems. Well, hey, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are having a good day. There was something I needed to click here that I couldn't remember. I'm sure it will be all fine. Let me say hi to everyone in the chat. Hi to Freddie Wolf, Know That, Pedro, Burgett, Aerosmith, which is Judith, Freddie Wolf, Key Park. Let me keep scrolling back here. I saw Uliana, Sophia, said hi to a few people in the chat already. Hi to Wilma, and I will leave it at that. Let me double check. Oh yes, the lesson is recording. The lesson is streaming properly. Everything is working the way it is supposed to. So that makes me happy. Okay, here we go. How does this work? I will teach you about struggles and problems. In the chat, you can have fun English conversations with each other. Enjoy your morning. Enjoy each other's company. That's how we say that in English. And if you have a question, there is a link pinned in the chat, and it's also in the description below. You can use that to ask a question about this lesson about struggles and problems. Freddie says, good day. It's already afternoon. Yeah, time change is a cool thing, isn't it? Yeah, Bob is singing again. Yeah, that usually is a good sign, isn't it? If I'm making up a little song at the beginning of the lesson, it usually means that I'm in a good mood. And I am in a pretty good mood today. Sometimes people want to know, how did you come up with the idea for this lesson? And this lesson isn't because I had some huge struggle or problem this week, although I will talk about the ones that I struggle with. It simply came up because I needed a good lesson idea, and this seemed like a good idea. On a TV show, I had heard about someone who was struggling with their relationship, and I thought, okay, I should do a lesson about that. And I think I did do this lesson like 6 years ago, but I removed and added some slides, so it is quite a bit different than back then. But yeah, let's get started. Getting up on time. So for some people, this is a problem. For some people, this is a struggle. They go to bed at night, and it's very challenging for them to get up on time. Their alarm goes off in the morning. They hit snooze 4 or 5 times. And next thing you know, they are late for work. So when we talk about things that are problematic, getting up on time can be problematic. I have actually struggled with this one this past week. Actually, the last couple of weeks. I think during the Christmas break, I started to get up a little bit later. And because it's so dark and cold outside in the morning, it's been a little challenging for me. So getting up on time has been a struggle. Getting up on time has been a problem for me. I hope not for you. Some people, it's really easy to get up on time. Their alarm goes and they just jump out of bed. But sometimes it's hard getting up on time or being on time. So maybe it's not too hard to get up on time, but maybe it's hard for you to be on time. When we talk about people being on time, we mean that they arrive at work before they're supposed to be there. They arrive at an appointment before they're supposed to be there. You know, if you have a dentist's appointment at 10 a.m., you should probably get there at 10 to 10 or 5 to 10. and then you would be on time. But if you get there at 10:05, if you get there at 5 after 10, then maybe being on time is something that is a problem for you. It is a struggle, something that you struggle with. For me, this is not a problem. I have faults, but one thing I am good at is I am usually on time for most things. I like being on time. Nervousness. If you have to have an English conversation this week with someone, you might be experiencing nervousness. This means that you are not excited about having that English conversation. Maybe you have to speak in front of people. You have to do some public speaking, and your stomach, it feels like you're going to be sick because you're so nervousness. Nervousness simply means to be a little bit afraid, to be afraid to speak in front of people, to be afraid to do something. Maybe you're playing a sport for the first time. You might have some nervousness. So this might be something that you struggle with. This might be a problem for you. The antidote, the cure to nervousness is to simply do something enough times that you become good at it. If you talk in front of a crowd of people every day as a teacher, eventually you're not nervous anymore. If you start playing a new sport and you play in 5 or 6 games, eventually you will be less nervous. Money. So this is kind of a funny one. You're like, what are you talking about, Bob? But some people struggle with money. And there are 2 ways you can struggle with money. It might be hard for you to find a job that pays you enough money, but you also might spend money far too easily. You might be someone who finds it very easy to spend money when you should be saving the money. So again, 2 different kinds of problems with money. Your problem might be that you need a better job so you earn more money. Or you might have a problem because every time you see something, you buy it. And then at the end of the month, you don't have enough money in your bank account because you have spent it. You probably know people who have money problems, who are bad at managing their money. And so they spend far too much money and often find that they don't have enough. Overeating. This is one that I, at times, struggle with. I will tell you when I struggle with overeating. If I go to a party, if we have a staff social, if there are treats anywhere. By treats, I mean cookies or chips or chocolate-covered peanuts. Those are really yummy, like peanut M&Ms. I will eat too many. And so I really work at not doing that. Christmas, the season of Christmas, is very challenging for me because there are so many yummy things to eat that I usually tend to overeat. This past Christmas, I didn't. I've been working really hard, going to the gym, making sure I am doing some exercises to fix my shoulder and hamstring. And as part of that, I'm trying to eat a reasonable amount of food every day. But overeating can be a problem for some people. It's definitely a problem for me. If I came to your house and you had pizza and ice cream and cookies and all kinds of yummy food, I would probably eat too much of that food. But I'm sure it would be an enjoyable experience having a nice English conversation and eating your food. Social media. So I'm not sure if you heard, but recently in Australia, they have banned social media for kids under the age of 15 or 16. I don't know the exact detail, but in that country, they have decided that social media, so Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, is not good for young people. It's not good for children. Some people do have a problem with social media where they are on their phone all the time. I apparently don't have that problem because I don't know where my phone is. They are on their phone all the time. In a previous lesson, I taught you the term doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is when you go on TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, and after a while you realize you've been looking at things for 2 hours or 3 hours and you're not sure where your day went. So some people struggle with social media. They just spend far too much time looking at things on their little phone screens. Time pressure. So some people, it kind of depends with this one, where you work or on your personality. So you might work somewhere where the boss is always trying to get you to work faster and better and more efficiently, and it can be stressful. Your boss might give you a job that takes 3 days and want it done in 2 days. Your boss might want a project done by the end of the week, but you really need 2 more weeks to finish it. You would be experiencing time pressure. In fact, we would call that a time crunch as well. You also might have a personality where you're always saying yes to things and you don't have enough time in your day to finish all of those things. Then you have time pressure. You have this inability to finish, to get done the things you're doing, and it will cause stress. Fear of failure. So I couldn't find a good picture of this, but I thought this worked. There's kind of a little flag at the top, like as if this person was playing Mario. And they are only on the 4th step. So fear of failure is when you don't try something because you don't want to fail. A good example would be water skiing. Maybe you are going to the lake and your friend has a boat and wants to teach you how to go water skiing. You know, you put on skis and you hold a rope behind the boat. That is kind of what it looks like. But you might be afraid that you're going to fall and you're going to look silly and you are going to do something wrong, or you won't be able to stand up. And so you decide not to try. You just sit in the boat all day. That would mean you have a fear of failure. Maybe you have a job and there's a better job that you want to apply for, but you are afraid to apply for it because you think you won't get it, or for some reason you have this fear that things won't turn out the way you want them to. That would be a fear of failure. Not a good fear to have. I have this a little bit, but I think generally if I want to do something, I just do it. And I will fail beautifully at something as long as I know I am learning something along the way. Hey, let's do some questions. Let me pop some questions on the screen here. Let me have a sip of water. And I will answer some questions. First one is from Know That. Hello, Bob. How do you handle everyday struggles and problems? Do you have anything besides walking that helps you stay grounded? Thanks in advance, Bob. So Know That is referring to the fact that I love to walk to relieve stress. And I've mentioned before that eating healthy, exercising, and getting a good night's sleep can help you have a more enjoyable day. But in the sense of struggles and problems, what do I do? So one problem I have is around this time of year, I might sneeze. We're going to go to mute. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully that worked. I wasn't sure why I was. Good thing I have that mute screen. Okay, this time of year I'm quite busy. One thing that helps me a lot is I make lists. Like today I have a list of all the things I need to do today. That's just really helpful. It's helpful to have a list. The other thing that helps me with struggles and problems at work is I have a few colleagues who I very much enjoy talking to when I'm having a good day, but also if I'm having a bad day. And then, of course, the ultimate advisor for me would be Jen. It's nice to just talk something over with Jennifer. That helps a lot. By the way, that's Jen's full name. Did you know that? My full name is Robert. Her full name is Jennifer, but I go by Bob and she goes by Jennifer. Know That says, just out of curiosity, Bob, do your students ever turn to you when they're struggling with something personal or private? A heartfelt thank you, sir. Not usually. Most of the time, if a student shares a struggle or problem, it's related to schoolwork or getting schoolwork done. Maybe if you were like coaching them on a team as well. You might hear a little bit more about if they're struggling with time or making it to practices, but generally we have counselors in our school. So if students have some sort of problem or struggle, they usually end up talking to one of our guidance counselors and they help them out quite a bit. From Noob, how do you describe going to another floor? I want to say like, I'll go to the second floor. That's how I would say it. I'm going to go up to the third floor. I'm going to go to the third floor. And that's where the office is that I need to find. From Fritz, how do you usually stay positive during the downs of your week? So a few things. Usually it's related to work for me, and it's usually related to having too much work. So I usually try to do the thing I don't like or the thing that's the most difficult first every day if I can. Like when I get to work, whatever's the least favorite thing for me to do, I do that right away so that it's done. If it's really hard, I do that right away. Number 2, I make lists. In my personal life, as I've mentioned, I like to get outside, go for a walk, eat healthy, exercise, all of those things, get a good night's sleep. All of those things help a little bit. Sometimes it's more serious though. And then I think it's important just to talk to someone and have a good conversation. I'm going to skip. The next one is quite political, so I'm going to skip it. If you're the person who entered that one, that one will, I don't really deal with politics on this channel. Judith, hi Bob, what kind of problem do you have now? Except getting up later, it is changeable. Thank you. So here's one thing that I do struggle with is we are having, there's not very much sunlight right now in Ontario, Canada. Today, the sun is shining, so I will definitely be outside a bit today. But we just had 2 weeks of very dull gray weather. And because I'm in the northern hemisphere, the days are very short in the winter. They're getting a bit longer, like it is the middle of January now. But I would say it's not very cheerful in Ontario, Canada in the winter when the sun doesn't shine. The sun just went away outside. Did you notice the change in I'm facing a window. So what do I struggle with now? Getting enough light and sunlight. So that would be it. Judith, hi Bob, what is your favorite food which can be a struggle to make due to time shortage? Thank you. So I like homemade pizza, but you do have to make the dough, and then it takes a while to make. So sometimes I just get a pizza from the pizzeria. Hi Bob, sir. From Hasham, how much time you take to get out of your blanket in the winter? So this morning I set my alarm for 6:45 and I didn't get up till 7:15. I've only been awake for an hour and 15 minutes. So yes, it's been a while. Hey, Brent's in the chat. Hi, Brent from American English. Brent, good to see you here. Brent would be aware of the same thing as me. In Maine, he's probably experiencing shorter days and not a lot of sunlight. Like we just say it's really gray out today. That's how we would describe it. Overcast. The sun doesn't come up till 7:30 in the morning, goes down at 5:30 at night already. So gray days, long gray days. Let's see here. From Sadat, teacher, I want to learn English. How can I do that? Can you help me? Thank you in advance. So you can do a number of things, and you're doing one of them right now. Watch live YouTube lessons, watch YouTube English lesson videos on YouTube. But you should also spend some time reading. Try to practice writing by maybe responding or leaving comments, and make sure you're doing a lot of listening and a lot of speaking. Make sure you do all of it. And the internet's great. You can find a way to do most of them. From Prasad. Oh, let me click something here. Hello, sir. I'm from India. I understand English, but I can't speak fluent. And this is a problem for a lot of people. The way I learned French, we spent a lot of time reading and listening when I was in school, and we didn't actually spend a lot of time speaking until the last few years of my French education. And so speaking is one of the last things to develop. One of the things that makes it challenging is that you need someone to speak to. So when you're in a class, it's easy for the teacher to play a video and everyone can listen. It's easy for the teacher to say, read this story, and everyone can read. it's hard for the teacher to have a conversation with every student, at least a meaningful one. So I would say make sure you find someone to have one-on-one English conversations with, please. Let's see here. From Judith. Hi, Bob. Ask for impossible work. Believe in a miracle. Is not problematic to make it. Thanks. So I have a motto that I stole from Star Trek. There's an episode of Star Trek where Captain Jean-Luc Picard says, one impossible thing at a time. And what that means is that the majority of things you do in your day, you should make sure they're possible, but you should only work on one really hard thing at a time. So for you, that might be learning English. So that might be your one, it's not impossible, but it's your most difficult thing to learn. Okay, one more question and we will get back to the lesson from Alex. Hey, Bob. I grew up in northern Siberia, and I remember how we dig big caves in the snow. Did you do something similar in your childhood? Yes. In fact, we have a picture of our children hanging on the wall in our back room where they dug a hole into a big pile of snow, a snowdrift, and then they're all at the entranceway. There's like a little circle. But yes, we quite often, we would make snow forts or we would dig snow caves in the snow. It was a very, very fun thing to do. Mr. Fisheri says, that sounds nice. Here we are sunscreen daily. Oh yeah, we haven't really seen the sun much at all. In fact, the other day I was at the gas station and the sun was shining. So while the gas was being pumped into my car, I just stood and let the sun shine on my face. No sunscreen needed here. We'll do Freddie and then get back. Here we go. Bob, glad to see you in good health. Thank you. Question, would you mind making a little reminder of using myself or I in sentences about ourselves? Merci beaucoup par avance. Yeah, I probably should do a full lesson on that, on how to use, when to use me, when to use myself, when to use I. Like for myself, like there's an example. I often will start sentences like, for me, it's difficult. For myself, that's challenging. I'm probably using it wrong, which is why I don't like teaching grammar too much when I'm live. But yes, that would make for a good lesson. Okay, let me get a sip of water. Let me check to make sure everything is still working properly. Hey, Brett, thanks for the gift membership. That is very awesome. So Enos Karaguzel got a gift membership from Brent. Very cool. Very, very fun. I will do that as well once we get to the next section of questions. Okay, here we go. Health issues. So I mentioned at the beginning that I would talk about the things that I struggle with. So I struggle sometimes with health issues. In my life, I have had 4 situations where I have not been a healthy person. And the one most recent would be my collarbone. Forget what year it was, but I got pneumonia one year. I don't know if you know what pneumonia is, but it's when it's difficult to breathe because you are sick and your lungs have fluid in them. And eventually I went to the doctor and they took an x-ray and my one lung was 90% full and the other one was 70% full of fluid. So I had pneumonia. I also had a blood infection once where I had to go on antibiotics for 5 weeks. And then, as you know, I had heart surgery once. So enough about me. Oh, and I just recently broke my collarbone. Sometimes people struggle with health issues. They might have something serious like cancer. They might have something less serious like their hip hurts. They have hip pain, or maybe they have shoulder pain from a life of doing really hard labor. But health issues are not enjoyable. You often are on medication or you need to see the doctor regularly, but those would be things that you just experience daily in life and they are not enjoyable. Alcohol, drugs, smoking. Not sure why self-esteem was in the middle. I thought all 3 were in a row. Some people struggle with alcohol. You can drink too much. Maybe this is something that started simply, you didn't realize it when you were younger. Maybe in your 20s, you were in university and you had some alcohol, and then now you're older and you have trouble not drinking alcohol. So you can become addicted to alcohol. You can become, in English, we'll say someone is an alcoholic. That means that they drink every day and they drink a lot. You might be addicted to some kind of drugs. Maybe in your city, there might be an area of the city where you don't go because that's where the drug dealers are. That's where people go to buy drugs. So people might struggle with drug addiction. You might struggle with, I'll just go to cigarettes. You might struggle with smoking. You might be addicted to smoking, addicted to the nicotine. And so you are smoking a pack a day or a pack and a half a day. And most of the time, people who have trouble with alcohol, people who have a problem with alcohol or struggle with it, or drugs or cigarettes, most people would like to quit, but there is something addictive about all of them. So you might be addicted to alcohol, drugs, or cigarettes, or smoking. Self-esteem. So self-esteem is when you think everyone else is better than you, or maybe a better description would be when you don't feel as good as other people. So a good example would, I should have had a picture of a teenager instead. A teenager might feel like all of their friends are smart, or all of their friends are better looking than them, or all of their friends are better athletes. And so they struggle with their own self-esteem. They don't feel worth a lot because they think everyone else is better looking, taller, more athletic, smarter. There are a number of ways where humans compare themselves to other humans, and this can affect your self-esteem. Maybe in school, your friend never does any work in class and gets straight A's. They get 100% on everything, and you have to work a lot harder. So you might have low self-esteem because you think that the other person is better than you. This is a tough one for people when you have low self-esteem. Relationship problems or finding a partner. So when we get to the point of life, in life, many people would love to be in a relationship with someone. They would love to find someone to spend the rest of their life with. They would love to find a partner. Some people who have found a partner might have relationship problems, though. They might be fighting with their spouse. They might be fighting with their boyfriend or girlfriend. And so that is not an enjoyable thing. I think in North America, 50% of marriages end in divorce. So this can be a real problem for people where you both go to work. And then when you come home, you end up fighting. You have relationship problems. You have marriage problems. That would be another way to describe it if you are married to each other. So relationship problems, marriage problems, not good problems to have. When people are struggling in their marriage, it can make life very, very hard and very difficult for them. And then finding a partner. So this happens, of course, with young people, but it can also happen if you are older. Maybe you love being single. There are many people I know who are not married. They don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, and they're very happy. That is a great way to go through life. But many people would love to find a partner. They would love to find someone to date and someone to eventually marry. And that can be challenging sometimes. It can be difficult to find a partner to spend your life with. A lack of motivation. So I do actually struggle with this one sometimes, believe it or not. I think that sometimes when I work too hard for too long, eventually I have a lack of motivation. I don't feel energetic and I'm not excited to do something. Believe it or not, this happens with my YouTube channel once or twice a year. I find that it coincides. It happens at the same time as when I'm really busy at work. So in September and at the beginning of January, every year, I don't have a lot of motivation to work on YouTube. And coincidentally, I'm very busy at work at the same time. So some of you might have this as well. There might be certain times of the year where you aren't excited to do things. You don't feel like you have a lot of energy to do something. You have a lack of motivation. This might happen with your English learning. Maybe you study English really hard for 6 months and then you just don't feel like it anymore. At that point, it's probably good to just take a little break. When you take a little break from something, you can have a lot more motivation to do that thing when you return to it. Having a big mouth. So this doesn't mean to physically have a large mouth. This means you say things without thinking about what you're saying. So sometimes at school, there will be a student who has a big mouth. And what we mean by that is they regularly say things quickly without thinking that offend or annoy other people. Okay. So we also sometimes say the person has no filter. What they think is what they say. And sometimes what they say is not very, very nice. So having a big mouth would be, it's kind of hard to describe because in polite workplaces, you usually don't see this. But when I worked in construction, I've worked with a couple people who had a big mouth. They were just talking all the time and saying mean things about the other people and me. And I don't know how to describe it. Not very fun to work with someone who has a big mouth. Anger issues. I don't really have this one, but I do, like most people, get angry sometimes, but it's not regular. If you get angry every day, if you know someone who gets angry every day, we would say they have anger issues because you shouldn't be getting angry every day. Anger is a completely normal human emotion that happens sometimes. Okay. We all sometimes get angry. If you were driving your shopping cart at the grocery store, or what they call a trolley, I think in the UK, and if you hit their ankle, like their leg from behind, that person might get angry. They might be very annoyed with you. But if you get angry every day, and you get angry multiple times a day, we would say you have anger issues because no one should be getting angry that much. That's not a normal thing to do. Uncertainty about the future. This is a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? And I had to find an AI generated photo for this one. Uncertainty about the future is something that usually affects younger people because they're not sure what job they'll have someday. They're not sure what they should study at university or college. They're not sure if they should not go to university and just work for their aunt or uncle who owns a business. But there's an uncertainty about the future. And usually young people feel this. I'm actually feeling this. I don't get super political in my live streams, but I have stopped reading the news every day because there's this uncertainty about the future of the world right now. And it's a little unsettling because up until the pandemic, I thought the world was getting better. I thought countries were getting along well. And now I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. I will leave it at that. But I think you understand what this means is you're not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. You're not sure what's going to happen next year. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to keep doing YouTube, and I'm pretty certain that I will have a job teaching high school for a long time. And so I don't have a lot of uncertainty about my future in terms of what I do for work, but I do have some uncertainty about the future of the world. A little bit worried right now. That's all I'll say. Okay, let's go to members only chat mode. Let me turn that on for a moment. Here we go. If you're one of the 180 people who are watching, don't forget to click the subscribe button and you will be notified when I do a new lesson. And right now we're going to go to members only chat mode, which means I will answer questions from members in the chat. And I will keep answering questions from the queue as well. But yes, let me see how many questions are in the queue. And why don't I know where to click? There is where I click. Okay, I got one question queued up. Just going to scroll back and read the chat. Brent says, hit the like button. Thanks. Freddie says, Brent, it's done. Freddie said, Bob, quand on a une peine de cœur, y a-t-il un docteur pour ça? No. So if you have heartbreak, if you are sad because you can't find love, or you found love and now you are no longer together, you might have. And then Bob, mauvaise excuse. Oh, I think that's about when I have lack of motivation. Mr. Fisher, yep, trolley, and getting struck by the leg really hurts. It does, because you have like if this is your foot and this is your leg, it hits you like right in the Achilles tendon, right? When someone drives the shopping cart into you. Let's see. Unsettling, unnerving, certain. No, that says, I have the same thing, Bob. I've also stopped watching and reading the news regularly. Yeah, I've stopped. Like, I love the news. I love knowing what's going on in the world. So I haven't completely stopped, but it's not the first thing I do every day. Like sometimes later in the day, or I'll just go a few days without reading the news because I'm just not sure what I'm going to read. Okay, from Know That. Hey, Bob, how have your first 2 weeks back at school been? I hope they've been as calm and stress-free as you expected. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, it's been really nice. In fact, yesterday was a snow day, so we didn't have to go to school, and it was a perfect day for a snow day. Today is the last day of the semester. Students write exams next week. So yesterday was a great day. I just thought it was a great day for a snow day. We got like 25 centimeters of snow. It's really nice. Bridget, me too, Bob, or Bob, me too. I stopped reading too much news. Wanda says, hi, Teacher Bob. I struggle with when I don't have breakfast. And about you? Thanks a lot. Most days, at least since the beginning of November, I have oatmeal with blueberries and boiled eggs. That's been my breakfast, and I really, really enjoy it. The other thing I've done is if I eat a lot of food late at night, I don't have breakfast the next day. That's how I handle that. Like yesterday, I had a piece of apple pie with ice cream last night. So this morning, I just don't eat breakfast this morning. Vera Vilson, longtime member. Teacher Bob, you're a teacher from the future. A few years ago, it was impossible studying foreign language live on the internet. Yeah, I find it interesting because when I first started YouTube, I didn't do live lessons right away. But then when I started doing them, I struggled with nervousness. I was nervous to do them. But now they're one of the most enjoyable things to do. So it is quite fun to sit and teach with just a camera and a computer. Know that, if you don't mind me asking, what happened to your hand? I'm not sure if you're looking at this. So that, I don't know. I just clipped something. But I also got a paper cut right here. Sorry, the camera will only focus on, I have to hide my face and then it will focus. Maybe it won't focus. Sometimes the camera doesn't focus. Oh, it's doing that. Okay. It's focused on me. Anyways, I'm not sure what that's from, but yeah, that's just a paper cut from, I was putting a poster on the wall and then it cut me. So, from Know That, what are your plans for today or the weekend, Bob? Are you going to go out and about or just having a restful weekend? So far, I think it's just a restful weekend. We have no plans right now to go far away because it's kind of bad weather here still a little bit today. But I might go to the mall tomorrow. We need a couple of things. And I do have to get groceries later today. But other than that, we're cleaning out all the cupboards in our kitchen. And I want to find like shelves that, it's kind of hard to explain, but we have cupboards with shelves, but I want to put in shelves where you can pull the shelf in and out. Hopefully that makes some sense. So I might be looking for that this weekend. From Eva. Hi, Bob. Hi, everybody. I also stopped reading and watching the news. Another thing, we lately had a lot of problems with black ice. Couldn't get to work. So black ice is when on the road, it looks safe to drive, but there's actually like almost invisible layer of ice. I actually slipped on black ice in the parking lot at the gym the other day. That wasn't very good. I didn't hurt myself, but I was a little worried that I was going to. Okay, let me get a question from Jitender. I'm not able to make sentences. So this is where, like, when forming sentences is challenging, but if you just practice reading comments on YouTube videos and then learning from the people who are writing there to write sentences, that's a good way to learn. It's also good to just have someone you can send an email to, like an email pen pal. That's a helpful way to form sentences. Let's see here. Freddie says, currently most of the news makes us uncertain about our future. I hope it will calm down soon. I hope so too. And Barry Wilson says, I don't know Teacher Bob, but we've been together for several years. It's amazing. Awesome. Thanks a lot for your great job. You are very welcome. Then from Know That, yes, that's what I meant with what happened to your hand, Bob. The little scratch. Thanks for shedding some light on it. No problem. Let's see here. Unsel, hi, Mr. Bob. Hi, Unsel. From your experience in Canada, how do parents balance protecting their children and encouraging them to face struggles on their own? Thanks a lot. This really depends on the parent. There are parents who will allow their children to try things and fail, and I find that that really helps create good, well-behaved people. There are parents who will protect their children from all failure. I think like failing is the best way to learn, safely, of course. So yeah, we generally just let our kids fail at stuff and then help them think through why they failed. But struggle actually is good. You do need some problems and struggle in life. It's normal as a human to have that. If too much struggle or too many problems can be difficult, but you shouldn't go through every day happy from the beginning of the day till the end, every day, day after day. That's not the human experience. The human experience is to have highs and lows, to have like good things and bad things every day. And hopefully you have more good things than bad things. And hopefully the bad things aren't serious, right? Like if I spill coffee on myself, that's part of being a human being. If in a parking lot, I'm going to go into a parking spot and someone else takes it, that's part of being a human being. You know, you're not going to go through your day without a few paper cuts. Know that. It's a bit off topic, Bob, and we're already a few days into 2026, but have you set yourself any New Year's resolutions for this year? Only if you don't mind sharing. Just to get in better shape, I want to be ready physically to do farm work when April and May arrive. So last summer, I was not able to help Jen on the farm a lot, and that was annoying for me. I like being able to help her. So that's my main goal, is to go to the gym, take care of myself, be ready. Let's see. No, that says, thank you very much for answering my questions. No problem. And Mr. Fischeri says, our local news here, our king is having a knee replacement surgery, and some of the response of the citizens were, wait, that's it? In comparison to world news, ours is very normal and not absurd. LOL. I'm not complaining. No, I wouldn't complain about that either. Good that your king is getting a knee replacement. Okay, I'm going to turn off members only chat. We are going to get this lesson done in just a moment. I'm going to have a sip of water and we'll get back to it and finish it off, and then I will go back to work. So here we go. Loneliness. So I have read in the news that we have a loneliness epidemic in the world, especially in North America with teenagers, that people are finding it difficult to make friends and to keep friends. And so a lot of people are spending more and more time alone. And so loneliness might be something that someone struggles with. They would really like to have a group of friends, but they don't know how to make friends. They don't know how to be a good friend. By the way, that's one way to maintain a friendship, is to be a good friend. So loneliness is something that some people in the world are experiencing, something that is a problem and that they are struggling with. Being overworked. So this is something that I feel sometimes, but it's my own fault. So when you are overworked, you have too much work in your day. You find it very, very difficult to get all of your work done when you're at work. Right now, I am overworked a little bit, but it's not too bad. Last week, I was more overworked, not because of my boss, more because of my own, I have a boss at work, but then I'm also my own boss, right, for YouTube. So when you are overworked, it can be stressful. It can be difficult because you have to work more, so you have less time to relax as well. And this goes along with it, being underpaid. So some people are overworked and underpaid. That means their boss or their place of work does not give them a respectable amount of money for the work they are doing. So if you work at a fast food restaurant, you might feel like you're underpaid. If you work somewhere and you have a lot of responsibilities and you're in charge of other people and you're only making like an extra $10 a day, you might feel underpaid. You might feel like you deserve to be paid more. But many people feel like they are overworked and underpaid. Their boss expects too much from them and also does not pay them what they think they should be paid. Hunger. So in every single country of the world, there are people who go hungry. That's the phrase we use to describe that. There are people in Toronto who go hungry every day. Even in a country like Canada, where it might seem like we are a wealthy country, there are people who find it hard to afford food. The way we try to help in Canada is we have things called food banks, where people can go and get food for free. We have government assistance programs. We have shelters for people who maybe don't have a home. And so hunger is when you don't have enough food to eat every day, and it can be a problem. In Canada, it's also bad. People who go hungry and people who maybe are homeless, it's a challenge in the winter even more because most of us are inside and they don't have a place to go, but also it's less likely that people will help them. So hunger is a problem around the world and also in countries like Canada. Too many responsibilities. So if you are a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mom with lots of kids, you might feel like you have too many responsibilities. So you see here 2 children. One kid is on the iPad, computer, phone, cup of tea, definitely a stressful look, maybe feeling like she has too many responsibilities. Maybe she's actually working from home while raising 2 kids. She might even be a single mom. So she might be raising 2 kids on her own. I'm just guessing when I look at the picture. And she might feel like she has too many responsibilities. I know if I was a single dad, I would feel like I had too many responsibilities because I would need to work, cook, clean, raise my kids. Like it would just start to feel overwhelming. So again, responsibilities are the things you must do every day. You need to pay your rent. You need to feed your children. You need to work to earn a living. Bullying. So bullying is the term we use to describe usually when children bug other children, when children are mean to other children, and when they do it regularly. So if a student at my school says to another student, "Your shirt is ugly," we wouldn't call that bullying. But if that student every day told the other student, "Your shirt is ugly, your pants are ugly, your shoes are ugly," every day said something mean about them, then we would say that's bullying. So it's repeated negative behavior from one person to another person. And adults can bully adults as well, but generally we use this term when we're talking about kids. So bullying, when one child is mean over and over again to another child. Being shy. So this is similar to being nervous a little bit. When you're shy, so here's a good example. Often little kids like talking to their parents. They like talking to their grandparents. They like talking to their aunts and uncles. But if you are at a family event and there's a new person there, they might hide behind their dad or mom. They might be shy. They don't want to talk to the new person. So depression. Depression is a lot more serious than a lot of the other things I've been talking about. So when you are feeling down, when you're feeling the blues, we sometimes say, or you're feeling unenergetic, or you're just feeling a bit low, those are things that are normal as you go through your day and through life. Depression is when it happens more often and you have those feelings more strongly. And my suggestion to people who feel like they might be suffering from depression or struggling with depression is you should see a doctor. When it is at the point where, like, if you go through your day and there's a balance of good and bad, and at the end of the day, you still feel good about your day, that's a normal human day. But if you are constantly feeling down day after day, and it's affecting your sleep, your relationships, your ability to eat healthy or exercise, you might want to see a doctor to see if you are struggling with depression. And then there's loss. So loss is also sometimes called grief. This is the emotion you experience after someone you know or love has died. So when you say, she's really having trouble getting work done right now, she's experiencing loss, it means that maybe her husband passed away, maybe her dad passed away, maybe her mom passed away. And when I say passed away, I mean died. So sometimes when someone dies, we just say they passed away. That's the more common English term or phrase to use. So you might have a colleague who they're just not very happy at work lately. And then you realize, oh, they're experiencing loss. Their grandmother passed away and they were very close to their grandmother. So loss, the feeling of extreme sadness because someone you know and love has died. Okay, that's the end of the lesson. I will answer a few more questions. Freddie Wolf says, overworked and underpaid at the same time. Wow, that wouldn't be cool. No. And then Mohammed says, hi, Bob. It's a great pleasure to catch up the live and see you surmount the latest health problem. Warm salutations. Yes. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I did a live stream. And towards the end, I had a bit of a dry cough. And then that certainly developed into like a sore throat. I would have been able to do the lesson, but I would have lost my voice. I wouldn't have been able to talk the whole time. Freddie Wolf says, life is a long, peaceful river, not easy every day. La vie est un long fleuve tranquille. Yes, life is life. Okay, let me check the form from Unsol. Let me have a sip of water. What do struggles really reveal about a person? Thanks, you're awesome. Depends on the struggle. I would say if you watch sports and you see a professional athlete get injured and then they, like 6 weeks later, they're back and they're stronger and better than they were before, that does reveal something about that person. They had a struggle in life, but they're very good at dealing with that struggle. So yes, you definitely can see that. Sorry, I'm reading Judith's question. Hi, Bob. Would you have any problem if you had to change your profession to be a journalist writing about war? Thank you for your answer. I would not be interested in doing that. I know there are what we call war correspondents. Those are journalists that will go to an area of the world where there is conflict or war, and they will report on it. I would not want to do that. I guess, let me rephrase. As a dad and a husband, I would not want to do that. If I wasn't married and if I didn't have kids, it might be more interesting to me because you're putting yourself in danger. And whenever you put yourself in danger, you have to think about the other people who rely on you as well. From Unsel, every generation claims it handled struggles better than the next. Do you think that's wisdom or just nostalgia? Thanks, bye. I think every generation has its own struggles and problems. There are some that are the same, but there are some that are unique. And so I would say it's just what we call the human condition. It's part of being human, is learning how to handle struggles. Does one generation do it better than the other? I don't know. That's a tricky one. Bridget says, great lesson. Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Yep, no problem. Freddie says, nobody should bully no one. Today, a 17-year-old girl has taken her life after being offended every day from a mad schoolmate. Yeah, it is tragic sometimes, the stories that we hear of what happens when there is bullying. Jackal. Hi, Bob. What do you think about pronunciation? Is it necessary to study pronunciation and IPA in English? Thanks, Bob. I think it's important to practice accent reduction and proper pronunciation so that you can communicate well and be understood. I know people and I have worked with people who have slight English accents, and honestly, it does not affect their ability to do their job or to live in an English-speaking country. So I do think you need to work at reducing your accent and getting to a point where you can communicate clearly. So it is important, but you don't have to completely get rid of your accent. Hasham. Bob, sir, can you please add an option of attaching images in forms? Oh, I could do that, although I'm not sure about copyright on that. Like if you submit a question with a picture. Let's see. Okay, last question. Fatih, those uncertainties about the future are getting increased because of AI. Are we on the same page about that? What are the uncertainties about the future for you? So here's what I think. As a teacher, at my age, I'm going to teach for another 5 or 10 years before I retire. And I don't actually think education is going to change radically in the next 5 or 10 years. I could be wrong. But if I was 25 and if I was a teacher, I would wonder, what is teaching going to look like in 20 years or 30 years? Like when that young teacher is my age, what will education look like then? I don't see, education does actually change slowly. It's not always a quick thing. So I'm not too worried about that. Okay. What's that? Oh, I should probably go to work. That's usually what I do at this point in the day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. A couple things before you go. This lesson will come out in a shorter version in a couple days with subtitles. I will remove all of the user viewer questions, and it will be a good review. And I do encourage you to watch it or listen to it again. If you don't have time to watch the whole thing, just watch the parts that interest you the most. But repetition is just a great thing to do when you're learning a language, when you're learning English or any other language. The other thing I would say is use subtitles. Like if you're someone who uses subtitles, watch sections of that with the subtitles on, and then turn the subtitles off and watch it again. That can be quite helpful. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day. It's Friday today, so I'm going to go finish off my work week, and then I think I'm going to go to the gym later today and then have a relaxing evening watching Star Trek Starfleet Academy, I think is a new show that just came out. I think that looks interesting. I might give it a watch. Anyways, bye everybody. Have a good day. Thanks for being here. Thanks for learning a bit of English. See ya.